I'm Sean McAngus. I'm a journalist at the Press and Journal newspaper covering the Murray area. So I've been doing it for 3 years now, and it's been good fun. So I became a journalist. Originally I did football reporting in terms of Highland League. So I used to cover a lot of football games with that, and then I went on, did a HND at college for 2 years, and then got a job at the Turf Advertiser, and then I'm now at the P&J. So that's how I got in through experience. It was started off football and then kind of switched to general news. So it was mostly football at the beginning because I'm a big football fan and watch football all the time, so it's great fun. I would say partly nosiness. Originally it was because of the football background. I loved going to games, speaking to different people, and just get to the sort of people you get to meet are very interesting, from your kind of local stories of people setting up businesses or people going through hardship. So it's just about, say, highlighting and getting to know people. I've always been a people person, so just getting that skill into my work. So that's how I got into it. So. That's a hard one. Depends on what define as best. I would say most interesting would be like RAF stuff. So I got to meet the crew that does the Poseidon aircraft. The people in the crew had never done an interview before, and it was quite weird because they felt nervous, more nervous than I was. So it's quite odd considering the kind of dangers they have to go through in terms of their job. So sort of stuff like that, and RAF stuff, kind of regeneration stuff, is kind of the stuff I do mainly. It's just interesting, and with the RAF it's quite rare to get stuff like that, so it's a unique opportunity because obviously you can't just go and visit the RAF, you have to go through checks and all that point, so it's quite daunting at first, but it's good fun. Worst thing, in terms of worst thing, that's hard. In terms of worst, I've had to deal with, there's a thing called, they don't do as much, there's a thing called death knocks. So you have to, say someone has died, they don't do it as often now because it's quite old fashioned, but you used to have to go to the person's door in terms of getting a tribute. So that was quite hard. There can be some subjects that you write about that you're not really interested in, or it doesn't really, so that could be quite, you can be quite disinterested. So sometimes council stuff can be quite draining in terms of, it's not really that fascinating, and it's trying to get the information in an interesting way, because you probably know yourself in terms of when you read news or watch YouTube videos, there's certain things that grab your attention, so it's trying to make that information actually interesting and kind of get away from all the fancy like gobbledygooch that people use in councils, governments to try and, so I wouldn't say it's the worst, but it can be difficult to get across. I would say get as much experience as possible early on. I used to do, at first when I did football reporting, I used to do, every time I went to Kilmarnock games, because I'm a Killie fan, I used to do match reports, and I set up my own blog in terms of Highland League football, so I still do a podcast now and then. So it's just to build up your portfolio and get as much experience, because I feel like now with like social media stuff, you can easily set up a blog for free on WordPress and type it up and stuff, and it's just about building an audience and then start pitching to papers. So I think it's just about going out there, being proactive. For me, it's been down to contacts and basically pestering people, because it gets to the stage, it's like you always say, if you don't ask, you don't get. So it's just everyone is just like, get to know people, meet people for coffee, like even people you kind of read, drop them an email and say, can I have a 5-minute call with you or something, and get their advice. But it's just about being proactive, and it's like it's actually easier than you think in terms of the sort of things you do. You're getting to speak to people. People do it every day. Speak to your friends, you speak to the person at the shop, you know, when you're serving. I know it's only a wee chit chat, but it's all about building that. So I say experience, contacts, and just, you know, being proactive and doing your own stories and stuff, because there's so much potential. I mean, if you see people, the amount of people who've grown in their own audience and stuff, so there's no reason why you can't. And it's just being willing to put yourself out there and ask. And the worst comes to worst is they don't answer, they say we don't have time. But I mean, that's not a bad thing, you ask, so at least you've got an answer to it, rather than, you know, question, oh, should I contact this person? So I would say that those are the kind of key things.